Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. Rob Sanders,
Some would be entertained by it. Some would be horrified by
Kale Carolina Jackpot Hall.
All would be interested in it.
The Rob and Kale podcast.
Let's go.
And welcome in to the show today. Appreciate you guys checking us out today here, wherever you're following, whether it's on YouTube, if it's on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good, or the Rob and Kale Facebook page. Thank you guys for checking out the show. All right, so we're going to take calls here in a little bit. If you want to get involved with the program, I'll tell you how to get there as well. That's coming down the pipe in just a moment. As always, if you want to support the show, there's the links right there. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. If you like the show, want to see me continue to do it, you can support the show through there. But I thought today, instead of, and I kind of, yesterday, everything that you see on college football now is talking about the expansion talk. And I'm not with it. I'm done with it, and I'll tell you why. There are talks that the SEC has said, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to be on the 16-team set. They're not going to go any higher. The SEC holds all the cards right now. The Big Ten is playing reactionary. The reactionary game by that. What I mean is that they went and got Southern Cal and UCLA simply because of the fact that the SEC got Oklahoma and Texas. And by the way, from what you've read, you could say that Oklahoma and Texas went to them. It's not like the SEC was sending out invites. So everybody putting together all this stuff about, oh, well, the SEC is looking to expand and they're talking to schools. But let's just be honest, okay? The SEC is not going to approach anyone. That's just the way that it is. People will come to them. There's talk that that they're set at 16. If they're set at 16, everyone else is going to react and go from there. Now, is the Big Ten going to keep expanding? We'll see. But they got basically caught with their pants down last year, and they figured they'd go ahead and make a move into that market out west, and adding the folks from Southern Cal and UCLA to the mix. Now, could there be more stuff coming down the line? If what we're reading is true about the SEC saying they're sticking at 16 teams, then, hey, we'll see on that front. Okay, if the Big Ten continues to add teams and maybe they try to go one up, we'll see what happens there. Someone actually sent me a message on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Appreciate that, about the stuff with Notre Dame and what they're going to do. You know what? I don't really care what Notre Dame does. And you shouldn't either. If they decide they want to do something shocking, it'd be great. Jay normally says things that are not very bright in the chat, but this is absolutely true. It would take Big Ten and SEC lawyers to bust up that ACC contract. Clemson might not be worth the trouble. The hard number, according to some folks, is $500 million to get out of your grant of rights stuff with the ACC. They are locked into that contract. It's just the way that it is. So I spent, 4 minutes talking about that today. That's the number one trending topic in college football today. I wanted to address it, but none of this is going to change. So I thought that I would give you, ladies and gentlemen, as I've got in my hand right now, college football things that would shock me for the upcoming season. And I'm going to take your calls on some of these in a moment, but I thought I would list some stuff here that would shock me if it happened this season. Number one on the list is Will Anderson, the talented defensive player from Alabama, winning the Heisman Trophy. He's the best player in college football. He's the one player that every coach has to figure out where this guy is. Okay? He is a Ndamukong Suh type player. Old school folks will know who I'm talking about. The guy that was at Nebraska was double and triple teamed and still should have won the Heisman his senior year, but they decided to get him in the mix. They decided to give it to someone from the offensive side of the ball. He plays defense. The pretty boy running backs, quarterbacks will not have it. They have to be soothed and loved all the time. Okay. So Will Anderson is going to probably have the best season in college football, but he's not going to win the Heisman. He's not, although he should. So I would be shocked if that happened. All right, something else that would shock me, and these are random and just random things that I've come up with that would shock me if it happened. Georgia Tech going to a bowl game. All right. Now, listen to this set of games to start the season. Clemson, Western Carolina, Ole Miss, at UCF, at Pitt, then Duke at home before the bye. Can you say what? 2 and 4 basically? I'm serious. Then after that, the back half of the season has road games at Virginia Tech, UNC, and UGA. If they go 4 and 8, I would be shocked. I would absolutely be shocked. We're gonna have enough of Jeff Collins sitting there with his coffee cup from Waffle House up there at his press conferences. Watch that this year because you're probably not going to see it next year, at least at Georgia Tech. All right, another thing that would shock me, anyone but Georgia winning the East. And I've tried. I know Tennessee fans, man, God bless you folks. Billy Cole out there still rehabbing his knee. I mean, I'm sure that if I were in the state of Tennessee, that they would invite me to a tailgate and they would tell me about all the wonderful things that Tennessee has with Hendon Hooker and Josh Heupel and all this stuff that they're putting together. But I would be absolutely stunned if anyone but Georgia won the East. The East is literally a big dog. See what I did there? And a bunch of fours. That's basically what you got. It's like you have the hottest girl in the world going out and bringing all of her friends that are basically fours. That's the best way that I can put it. All of them are completely flawed as far as teams go. Each one of them. Tennessee needs defense. Remember what Purdue did to them last year in the bowl game. Kentucky's a mystery on offense. Yes, I know that you've got Rodriguez. Yes, I know that you've got Will Levis, and everyone will tell you, oh, this guy's got a chance to be a first round quarterback. Yeah, you can be all that. Great. But who the hell is he going to throw the ball to? Seriously. South Carolina is at least a year away of ridding themselves of the Will Muschamp level of stench that could ruin a program. Okay? They've got to get away from that. Don't talk to me if you're Mizzou. Eli Drinkowitz has no clue who his quarterback's going to be right now. Luther Bowden might do something for them. I don't know. I don't know. And Vanderbilt, let's just stop it for a second, okay? All right, finally, a couple of other things. South Carolina winning less than 6 games, I would be absolutely shocked if they won less than 6 games. I mean, 6 games is the floor for this team. Spencer Rattler, Jaheim Bell, to carry on Jordan and company, I think make that Gamecock offense viable for the first time in a long time. The key is, as my buddy Carolina Jackpot would say, is that offensive line. Can they do enough where they can keep Spencer Rattler somewhat clean? Now, I'm not saying that they have talent on that offensive line, but can their coaching staff take that talent, mold it into something where it is viable, or game plan around it? Set up plays where you get the ball out of his hands quickly, which is something that he has that is NFL type level, is a quick release. If you can get rid of the ball out of his hands quickly and nullify the fact that your offensive line is not very good, I think that that offense is going to be just fine. Now, are they going to be gimmick level? as I just knocked my light down. Are they going to be gimmick level Tennessee? No, absolutely not. But you know what? They could utilize some of what Tennessee does, run a lot of no huddle, gimmick it up a little bit. They could do that. Keep teams off balance. Yeah, they could do that. Nullify the fact that they don't have a good offensive line. That's kind of the way I think that South Carolina could do that this season, and they're going to win more than 6 games. I really believe that. All right, Clemson losing 2 games or more. Now, bear with me for a second. The Tiger defense this year is enough to carry them to win 11 with ease. If the Clemson offense scores 21 points, which means handing the ball off to Will Shipley and Kobe Pace, then they're going to be fine. But look, I'm not going to be, they use the term in wrestling, like pro wrestling, like a mark, which is someone that is just over the top, hyped up basically for insert person here. A lot of them are guys that are like, their Twitter pics are their favorite female wrestler. And it's not for the fact that she's a wrestler, it's just for a fact that they're hoping that she will notice them. It's that kind of thing. Okay? I'm not going to give you that kind of language. All right? What I am going to tell you is that the Clemson football schedule this season is absolute hot dog water. You know what I'm talking about. We've used that term on the show before. Okay? First 3 games of the season, Georgia Tech, Furman, Louisiana Tech. I mean, you're not going to know anything about that Clemson football team going into week 4. Think about that for a second. When they play Wake Forest on the road in week 4. Yeah, I think that the Wake Forest coach, Dave Clawson, can manipulate some offense and possibly make Clemson a little bit tougher. But in the end, I think it comes back down to this. That schedule is brutally weak. They get a bye week before they play Notre Dame. So they get an entire week to get ready for the Irish, which is the toughest game on their schedule, by the way. And then after that, they play the rest of their games at home. After November the 5th, everything's in Death Valley. Louisville and Miami are both at home, followed by South Carolina. So the schedule makers in the ACC have made it absurdly easy as far as just the setup for Clemson. They don't even have to play Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. It's at the Mercedes Superdome or whatever the hell they call it. So with that, if they lose 2 games or more, it's a failure by that coaching staff this year. Now, barring injuries, let's make sure we put that out there. Brian Brzee goes out and tears his ACL again. Not going to work. Not going to work at all. All right, so comments for some folks over here. Jay says the Gamecocks, most intriguing SEC team with predictions, followed by LSU in a close second. Billy says we do know Clemson's offense was next to last in the ACC last year. Yes, you're right. Will Dabo be wearing silver bracelets before the Notre Dame game? I don't know. That's a good point. Harry Legg says if. Yeah, you're right. I'm just looking at things from a different perspective here, and I don't want to talk about expansion this, expansion that, sir. I'd rather talk about what I think's going to happen for the upcoming season here over the fact of I wonder what's going to happen if Notre Dame joins the Big Ten over the ACC. I don't know. All right, so with that, I'm going to take some calls this afternoon, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you'd like to join the program today, as we roll along here, Nick says Dabo's going to jail. What are you guys talking about over there in the comment section? You're on fire today, but you're talking in circles. Anyway, 803-470-2905. Would you be shocked by any of those? And which has the most potential to happen? Are you buying Georgia Tech going to a bowl, South Carolina winning less than 6 games, Clemson losing more than 2, someone other than Georgia winning the East, or Will Anderson winning the Heisman? We'll take calls on that, 803-470-2905. Harry Legg says South Carolina will go 7-5, 6-6. Clemson will go either 11-1 or 10-2. You know, the Clemson schedule, by the way, if they go if they go 11-1, their only losses to Notre Dame. That's a horrible season in my opinion. Kirby's Visor says Vandy will win more games than Georgia Tech. Yes, I'm buying that too. Vanderbilt's football schedule, by the way, I've got it right in front of me. They start the season on the road at Hawaii. Look, you SEC folks, we talked about you before. You know, the ones that love the conference so much. Someone needs to go and shake Vanderbilt a little bit and say, why is it that you, as an SEC team, even though you're not a very good SEC team, why are you scheduling a game on the road at Hawaii to start the season, followed by a home game with Elon, then a home game with Wake Forest, and then you go on the road to Northern Illinois? Why is that happening? This isn't you're scheduling a Power 5 team. No, we're going to go and we're going to play at Northern Illinois. Vanderbilt, in theory, with the fact that they do have some SEC players on that team, allegedly, they should win that game. But why are you playing Northern Illinois? This is one of those things we talked about where athletic directors scratch each other's backs. Oh, well, we'll do this for you, and then you do this for us, that kind of thing. Why is that happening? If Vanderbilt goes, let's say they beat Elon and they beat Northern Illinois and they're 2-2. After that, they head to Alabama. That's a loss. Ole Miss at home, at Georgia, at Mizzou, South Carolina, at Kentucky, Florida, and Tennessee. Would anyone be shocked if Vanderbilt did not win a conference game? I don't know. I don't know about all that. Maybe they'll go 2-10. Who knows? But I don't get the whole gist of, yeah, we're going to play at Northern Illinois and Hawaii. What a mess. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you would like to join the program this afternoon, we got a lot of things that are out there. If you want to talk about the stuff that I had here or something that would shock you, the Tennessee folks, would you be shocked if Tennessee won less than 8 games? Billy says, why wouldn't you want to play weak non-cons? It's not an issue of that. I'm just talking about going on the road to Northern Illinois. Why would you want to do that? Doesn't being in the SEC give you the right to say, hey, Northern Illinois, come play us? I don't know. I don't know at all. All right, 803-470-2905. Papa B says, would you be shocked if one of the Mississippi teams won the West this year? Here's the thing with the West. I think it's Alabama's to lose, okay? But eventually, we're going to get to a point where they have a season where they don't finish on top, but they fall just short and Nick Saban decides to hang it up. Is this the year? I don't know. When that happens, when that happens, would I be surprised if it's one of the Mississippi teams? No, sir. Would not be surprised at all. I think all the people buying into Texas A&M, they're just buying into that recruiting class. Remember, they beat Nick Saban last year, and they still finished 8-4. Okay? I was listening to some podcast the other day. I can't remember who it was. I wish I could give them credit. But the guy on the podcast is an admitted Texas fan. He goes, you know what? Texas A&M joined the SEC, and their idea was, look, we're going to be the Texas team in the SEC. We're going to get away from this whole being little brother to Texas. That's what we're going to do. Then they get into the SEC, and you know what? It didn't really help them. They're still an 8-win team, 7-win team. It's what they are. Seriously. It's not like they've gone to the SEC championship game. They haven't. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, that's because they play with our and the same thing as, yeah, I get it. They've got what, 2 wins over Alabama since they joined the conference. There's not a lot of teams that have done that, but they can't string together enough to go to the SEC championship game. You would think with the money that they put into that football program, they'd have at least one SEC West title. Just one. Just one. Harry Legg says, who in the West can exploit Alabama's weaknesses? Well, what are Alabama's weaknesses? Could you say it's their offensive line? I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. All right, taking calls 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. That's the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the program this afternoon. Papa B says Kivens' new running back from TCU looks super strong. Yeah. Once again, we don't really know until they get out there. And that's why you got to be cautious with the Spencer Rattler thing, too, because we don't know how he's going to play when he gets out there. I venture to say the Oklahoma offensive line was better than what the South Carolina offensive line is. And are they going to be able to protect him? How is he going to deal with he may get popped every play? Just a thought. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. That's the number to dial if you'd like to join us on the program this afternoon. As we roll along here, we're getting closer and closer to the point where Steve Spurrier said it was talking season. Yeah, it's kind of what you get with once we get close to ACC kickoff. We'll be there in, 8 days? SEC Media Day is right there in the mix, too. We're going to be there for all of that. So be sure to follow along with us there. Jay says Bama's plugging holes in their dam with Kentucky and Georgia Tech recruits. What can go wrong? Yeah. That Georgia Tech running back, though, was it Jahmyr Gibbs? I think he's pretty good. I really do. All right, so if you want to support the show, there's the links for that. But hey, it doesn't cost you anything to click the like button. Tell your friends about the show. It's easy as, I listen to this program as we try to be the show of the people. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Normally we have calls, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe did I start the phone system? Yes, I did. Okay. Thought maybe it was just me. Dakota says, I think South Carolina is going to be a tough team this year. They should be. They should be. I mean, if that's why I say six wins for South Carolina is the floor. Jimmy says, are the defensive fronts better in the Big 12 or the SEC? I agree with you, sir. They didn't play much defense in the Big 12. I completely agree with you on that. So, Jay with the stat of the day. Gibbs rushed for -1 against Georgia, but fairly. Not very many teams had big running games against Georgia. So, there's that. All right, 803-470-2905. One other little thing here before we get to calls. Have you seen where folks are everything is recruiting right now? And a lot of it's the top, we're a top 5 recruiting class here, a top 10 recruiting class. Man, I tell you what. It's July, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know where these guys are going to go yet. Let's just calm down on all that. Let me be your guy that I'm sitting on the couch a little bit for you. All right, you sit on the couch and I'll listen to your troubles. Okay? It's July. Let's calm down on the recruiting front. Yeah, it's great, but these kids can change their mind in a nanosecond. Papa B says, who do I like in week 3? Penn State at Auburn. I don't know how good of a coach James Franklin is. There's a part of me that wants Auburn to do well just because of the way that Harsin has been treated by some of those Auburn fans that are down there. And wouldn't it be great if Harsin went out there and won 9 or 10 games this year and made them all look stupid? because the boosters and the quote unquote people that care about Auburn football, they basically hung this guy out to dry. They were hanging accusations out there that he was having an inappropriate relationship with a secretary. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would like to see just for him, for that to happen, and then he's like, "I'm leaving. Deal with it." Let's see here. Jay likes my sleeves today. Yeah, I wore a shirt today. Imagine that. Also, you've got, let's see. Oh, what was it? Oh, Daddy O with a good point. What do classes really even matter with the transfer portal, anyways? One mad kid away from jumping in. Well, and that and kids leaving and going together. Remember, South Carolina got Stogner, the tight end from Oklahoma, and Rattler. So one guy gets angry, talks to his buddy, and says, "You know what? Hey, let's get the heck out of here." And that happens now. The idea of sticking by your commitment to a college anymore is just not there. I know people are going to be like, "Well, Rob, the coaches don't stick by that." Yeah, you're right. Coaches don't do any of that either. I get that. But I wonder if there's going to be a set of folks that say, "You know what? You made a decision. You made a decision. You're going to have to go to insert school here. That's where you decided to go." And it didn't end up working out for you. Well, that's fine. There's not going to be a lot of guys like the Alabama. What was the Alabama quarterback that's now the New England starting quarterback, basically, where he sat on the bench forever? Yeah, I don't know. There's not going to be a lot of that anymore. Dakota's correct. Coaches have to recruit in their sleep now. Players on the team and new recruits. Yeah, you almost have to have a retention coordinator. What can this guy do to make us better? What can this guy do to keep what can this guy do to keep other players here? Yeah, Mac Jones. Thank you, Zachary. Yeah, you're not gonna have a lot of guys that are like Mac Jones anymore. So there's that. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Harry Legg with a good point. Franklin's good for one well-coached game a season. I mean, if we're having like the coaching trials here, is he you Georgia fans will hammer me for this. Is he in your top 20? Think about it. Think about it. I don't get the whole why everybody's in love with James Franklin thing. It doesn't make sense to me. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Uh, I like South Carolina ceiling a little better this year simply because of what I think Rattler can do. But, one of the things we gotta watch with South Carolina is the quarterback front because I think that come the end of November, Rattler's gonna be gone. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Yes, this is an old hat. I gotta get a new one. I've got other hats, I just didn't put one on today. I just grabbed this one. All right, 803-470-2905. Daniel says he'd put Franklin in his top 20. He won at band. He just struggles motivating front runners. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I just didn't buy into the whole thing with Franklin. Maybe I should look past all of that. But if he's in your top 20, hey, why not? I can see that. All right, 803-470-2905 if you want to join the program this afternoon. Frothy says Franklin won 2 miracle 9-win seasons at Vandy. Unbelievable, but very underwhelming at Penn State. They're paying him a lot of money too. Him and the coach at Michigan State are getting paid an absurd amount of money to coach there, and I don't know if they're going to live up to that. I really don't. I would be shocked if they lived up to the money that they're paying them. I mean, I really do. I don't know. The idea of The idea of some of these coaches living up to that amount of money is just out there. Just out there. Aaron says Vandy will be a solid team in a couple of years. They're recruiting well right now. Okay. I agree with Frothy Tavern too. Cashed in, but they jumped the gun and paying him. He hasn't proven it yet. Yeah. They're going to end up paying him a lot of money. We're going to be talking on this program about how Mel Tucker's getting what? A ton of money at Michigan State, and they're having to pay to get rid of him. Yeah. Peg and Megan agrees with me on Franklin. Made a fool of themselves on a couple of occasions. That's true too. You know, we're at the point though where if one if a coach comes in and has one decent season and takes your team to a mid-level bowl game and has one decent recruiting class, everybody and their mother is like, break the bank, pay him, pay him, pay him, pay him. And then if that fizzles out the least little bit, they're gone. Jay says Mel almost gives Jimbo a run for most overpaid coach. Well, there are certain people that don't want to have that conversation. They are. Big Barney Ross says new goal to go an entire day without seeing or hearing anything about Elon Musk or conference expansion. Look, I talked a minute about the conference expansion. I don't know what Elon Musk can bring to this program unless he wants to sponsor it. I mean, then we could call it the Elon Musk show. He has enough money that he could sponsor the whole damn thing if he really wanted to. What head coach might be on the hot seat that we didn't realize? Well, you know, are we talking in the SEC or the ACC? In the SEC, I think everyone's somewhat safe there, I would think. In the ACC, I think it's Dino Babers is the one guy. Froth the Tavern says, do you think right now the 4 playoff teams would be Ohio State, UGA, and Clemson? If you held me down and made me look at it, I couldn't really argue against those 4. Peg and Megan with another super chat that says hashtag 2021. Fair enough, sir. Harson at Alabama, I think, is right there in the mix. You know, I also think, and some people don't really want to hear this, but you could look at Eli Drinkowitz at Mizzou. Yeah, I know he's done okay there, but with what happened with their defensive coordinator, where they had one of the worst defenses in the SEC up for like 6 games last year before Steve Wilkes could figure it out. If they don't hire someone to get into the mix and help that defense quickly and not take 6 games to figure it out, yeah, he could be his seat could be heating up a little bit. All right, 803-470-2905. Frothy Tavern says Mizzou lost to Army in a bowl game last year. That's bad. Yeah, that is bad. All right, taking your calls this afternoon. 803-470-2905. 803-470-2905. Pagan says that Octavian should call in and slap some sense. Well, I mean, what have I said that's wrong today there, Pagan? I don't know. Dakota says, I like Clemson. My whole family, besides my dad, are Clemson fans. I hope they get their stuff together and have a quarterback. Yeah. Look, if the first 3 games of the season that I mentioned with Clemson, where they play Georgia Tech, Furman, and Louisiana Tech, if that offense isn't humming under DJ Uiagalelei, and they think that Klubnik is playing a little bit better in practice, I think Dabo Swinney is going to give that kid the hook. Seriously. I mean, do you really think they're going to continue to roll Uiagalelei out there with the way that he's played? I think they're willing to give him a little bit of a break there to start with the whole Hey, he was injured last season. There were rumors his parents got divorced. That can weigh on a kid. All that in the mix, though. If you're injured, fine, sit on the bench. If emotionally you can't be out there, the program goes on without you, and that's anywhere. Daddy O says DJ will be in the portal by Halloween. Yeah, can't really argue that. Frothy Tavern says with ukulele shortcomings, is Clemson going to play conservative and try to win every game with defense? I don't think, as far as the Clemson offense goes, if they can run the ball down your throat with Will Shipley and Kobe Pace, and you don't give them a reason to throw the ball, yeah, I think that's what they're going to try to do and try to lean on that defense a little bit. They're hoping that Uyunglele would have the season that Stetson Bennett had last year. Manage the game, put up decent numbers. Don't put Clemson into positions where they're going to end up screwed. Don't hit cheerleaders in the back with footballs. That's what you've got to do. Literally, if I was his quarterback coach, that's what I'd tell him. You hit one cheerleader on the sideline, I'm going to put my foot up your butt and you're going to run a mile. Yeah, you're going to run a mile during the game. You'll just keep running around the stadium until I tell you to stop. That's what I would do with Uyunglele. I don't know how else you get his attention. Whatever. Sit a quarter if you hit a cheerleader in the back with a football. Nick with a good point. If they ride their running back like they did against South Carolina last year, he'll end up injured before the end of the season. That's a good point. Zach asks, what do I think South Carolina's record will be? The floor is 6 wins. They could win 8. They could win 9. They get some dumpster fires, teams that we think are going to be good, but they're not. They could win 9 games. Frothy says Clemson's D was legit last year, only second to that Georgia defense. Look, I'm not going to put them in the realm of that Georgia defense because that Georgia defense was special, and putting them in that same ilk is not very good at all. I do think that the defensive line, the first string guys on the defensive line are all going to be first round draft picks across the way. The second stringers are going to be good too. They're all going to be drafted. So secondary has an all ACC player at safety. Linebackers should be good. So I think the Clemson defense is going to be lights out, in my opinion. But they're playing a hot dog water schedule. They got one game on the schedule to get up for. That's the Notre Dame game. The rest of them are not very good. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you'd like to join the program this afternoon, we appreciate you guys as always. Jackpot and I will be back at doing a show tomorrow night, so be sure to tune in for that. Lord only knows what we're going to be talking about, but love doing the show with my buddy Carolina Jackpot. Follow his YouTube channel too. What is it? At oh goodness, I was going to promo it and I forgot at Rockabelly 864. There we go. Where he does food reviews and everything else. Big Barney Ross is not being nice today. He says Clemson will dominate the lower quarter of the SEC teams, like beating Louisville. You know, you Kentucky fans, the worst thing that can happen to a Kentucky fan this year is if they slip up and lose to Mizzou and Louisville. If that happens, all Big Barney Ross is going to be talking about is John Calipari and Bagman. He's not going to be talking about Stoops. Stoops will be the Bagman. He'll be relegated to being the Bagman for Calipari. Oops. Oh, let me check my phone system here. I have to refresh it. For some reason, my phone system is acting up. All right, so if you're wanting to call the program, 803-470-2905. And I think it should be whirling right now. As that's some craziness, right? 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you want to call the program before we get out of here today, We can look at the hot seat rankings. We may do that tomorrow. What's Kirby's hot seat record this year? If there's a letdown, Kirby Smart's not going anywhere. Let's just slow down for a second. Kirby Smart is not going anywhere. I mean, the guy won a national title. They're not gonna, unless they go out and lose to Vanderbilt. I don't see that happening. All right, Area 803-470-2905. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
What's up, Robbie? This is Pagan.
Pagan, what's up?
Hey, quick question for you, man. You mentioned DJ a little while ago. What are your honest thoughts? I mean, if you opening day, is he obviously he's who you expect to get rolled out there, correct?
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Well, is it the situation where you're going to say, okay, just how long until the next guy, or are you willing to give him a real shot? Do you think last year maybe was an aberration, or what?
Well, Coach Sweeney has been on the record as saying, hey, he's played better. The scoreboard hasn't really shown that, but I think they're going to give him the first 3 games of the season. I really believe that because, I mean, the first 3 games, as I said, Georgia Tech, Furman, Louisiana Tech. If you can't go out there and put up 2 bills as far as passing yards against those 3, then you're not ready to be a championship level quarterback. I'd rather take my lumps with the freshmen. I really would at one point. And Dabo Swinney's not going to let what happened with Deshaun Watson happen to him again, where if he would have played Deshaun Watson against Florida State his freshman year instead of Cole Stout, Clemson would have won that game. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Do you think that's the opinion of most Clemson fans? Would they rather see the freshman right off the bat?
I think most Clemson fans that they've been calling him big, he calls himself Big Cinco. They've been calling him Big Stinko. They don't like the way that he played last season. I personally think that mechanically he's good. I mean, he's a big guy. He can throw the ball. And I look back to the games that he subbed in for Trevor Lawrence when Trevor Lawrence had COVID, threw for 300 plus in 2 games. One with Boston College at home. The other one, he's the all-time leader at Notre Dame as far as a quarterback coming in there, a road quarterback coming in. He's the guy. No one's thrown for more yards against Notre Dame at Notre Dame than Uiagalelei. So I use that as an example there, and they're hoping to see more of that and less of the 99 yards he threw against South Carolina.
Yeah, I just don't know how you explain that. I really don't, how well he did at Notre Dame versus what we all saw last year.
Right. I don't get it either. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I just wonder I wonder what it will take for him to get the hook this year permanently,
I think if he's not doing well after those 3 games, I think that Sweeney may trot out Klubnik at Wake Forest. I really believe that.
All right.
We'll see on that. And one of the other things too, that the Notre Dame season, they had Travis Etienne, who was an all-purpose Swiss Army knife that he could throw the ball to in the flat. Clemson hasn't really had that yet. They're hoping that Will Shipley can be that guy, but Will Shipley was a freshman last year and still trying to figure out where to go and where to block and everything else, even though he had a pretty good season. So there's that too.
Quick question for you.
Sure.
Stetson transfers this offseason. He's eligible to play for you this year. Do you take Stetson over DJ?
Damn it. That's a tough thing there. Is Klubnik in the mix too? The fact that I'm having to think about this is enough. Okay. The fact that I have to think about this. No, and I'm serious. And I'm not trying to run Stetson Bennett into the ground, but let's just be honest. He is a SoCon level type quarterback. He is a game managing quarterback that's got a national title and should never have to pay for a drink in Athens for the rest of his life. Okay. And he won't have to. But in the end, I want to say that Uiagalelei has all the physical stuff there. But if you could put the moxie and the coolness of Stetson Bennett into DJ Uiagalelei, I think you'd have a hell of a quarterback. How's that?
Bennett is a polished gem, is what he is. He's a weapon.
Jesus Christ. He's a
So you
game
left out
manager
those
that
adjectives.
he won't lose a game for you. And right now, he won't hit cheerleaders in the back on the sideline. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, they don't give you points for that.
Someone needs to tell Uyunglele that. Stop hitting the
Yep.
cheerleaders. They're not going to date you if you hit him in the back of the head on the sideline with a football. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know.
You know, to his credit, maybe he had a little score to settle with one of those ladies. So could be. We don't know.
Well, he hit more than one. So is he pissed off
Okay.
several of them? I don't know.
Yeah. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I got to let you run, Rob. 43-18.
Appreciate it, man. You have a great day. Daddy-O says Stetson is like Phil Petty, a game manager. Yes. Harry Legg, I can't really argue with what you're saying there. The Dogs traumatized DJ. He was never the same after the Georgia game. Never the same. Dakota says, does Clemson still have the all-purple uniforms? First of all, they're called regalia, by the way. And those are worn on Military Appreciation Day. It is a Clemson tradition that they wear those on Military Appreciation Day to honor the troops. So it's kind of funny when people mock those uniforms. They don't understand the significance behind them. It shows you don't know much about the game of Hut Hut. All right. Well, it's been a great show, and you guys are awesome. I'm going to try to keep doing this for a bit, as long as I can anyway. I appreciate the folks that have supported the show. You know who you are. Jay and all those guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all. I really do. Big Barney Ross with the super chats. Peg and Megan with super chats. It's just, it's great. So, you guys are awesome. Make sure you like the show. That's a big thing. Like it, share it. Tell people that get some sports talk here in the afternoon. That's a little bit different than the normal sports talk you get. So there's that. All right, you guys are awesome. We'll see you later on. You guys have a great day, and we'll check you out tomorrow.